Lock it up. Rolling.
33, bro, take 3. Mark.
Okay, here we go. Same thing, Victoria. That was awesome. And action.
Well done, Ryan. Thank you, sir.
There we go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's happening? 1 second here. Let me... Why did that go down? Did that go down? I think it went down. Test. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to episode 261 of McRae Live. There we go. Just got to turn up my microphone a little bit. Hope you're all doing well, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 261 of McRae Live. It is Saturday, May the 25th, 2024, 2:14 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it is a tier ranking today. That's so good. Let's do it again. Yes, happy Memorial Day to my brothers and sisters south of the border. I hope you are all doing well and have a nice Memorial Day weekend. Happy long weekend. It was our long weekend last weekend, Victoria Day long weekend. It's Memorial Day for you guys this Monday. Tier ranking, the Halloween timelines. Every Halloween timeline, there are 7 of them. 7 of them kind of officially, I guess, although there's probably more if you really want to dive deep into it. We're going to rank them today. That's what we're going to do. Episode 261. I'm excited about it. We're going to jump into it. And it should be a good one. And we'll see who rolls on in. We'll see if anybody rolls on in over the next little bit. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if anybody rolls on in. And I did see people wishing me a happy birthday in the chat room. Thank you so much for doing that. You guys are amazing. Thank you. And thank you to each and every one of you who wished me a happy birthday yesterday on my social media, whether it was my Facebook page or my Instagram page. That's where I posted. I didn't post it to Twitter because I don't know. There's some posts that feel like they're Twitter posts, and then there's some posts that kind of feel like, this really isn't a Twitter post. I don't know. For some reason on Twitter, it felt a little more self-indulgent than it does on my Facebook page. I don't know why. But nonetheless, I appreciate it. Yes, thank you. At 3:30 in the afternoon yesterday, Friday, May the 24th, 2024, I officially turned 45 years old. It is hard to believe. It's kind of scary that I'm 5 years away from 50, but the only solace I take in getting older is that everybody I know around me who I care about is also getting older. So we can all get old together. That's the only solace I take, because really at the end of the day, it would really suck if I was the only one getting older and everybody was staying young and beautiful and, no, we're all going to get old and rot in hell. But I appreciate it. Thank you. Yes. To everybody in the chat room there that wished me a happy birthday. It was good. It was a good day. It was just, I had a voiceover session yesterday morning in downtown Toronto for another episode of Super Wings. I'm now on 4 shows now. So, although it might just, I'm not sure if they're going to do a season 3 of Luna Chip and Inky or not, but I'm on Luna Chip and Inky, and then of course Super Wings, and then Lana Longbeard, which you guys probably know about because I've talked about it before. That's still in production. We're still recording those episodes, and then was it yesterday or the day before, I got word from my agent that I had booked a reoccurring role on season 4 of Deer Squad, the kids show Deer Squad, which I think at the moment is on Nickelodeon and Paramount Plus, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, they're recording season 4, and I'll make an announcement on my social media at some point. But looking forward to that. That starts recording next week, I believe. So if you have like little kids, like 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, Deer Squad is a really, really cute show. And they're doing season 4, and I booked a reoccurring role on that. So that's 4 shows. So it's like, between that and the channel and, Billy, I mean, it's crazy. It's been very, very busy, as you can imagine. So yesterday, anyways, I did another episode of Super Wings, came home. The new running shoes that I had bought had come in because I'm a jogger. For those of you who don't know, I run. And but the shoes I had been running in for a while have been dead. I'll just call it, they're dead. And so my new Asics running shoes came in. I've been running in Asics for years. And I went for a run yesterday as well. And I just ran Thursday night, and then I went for another run Friday afternoon. So, because I had to try out the new shoes, and they were great. Like so much more spring and bounce. Like, there's life to these shoes. You know what I mean? So it was, and I watched Immaculate last night. Immaculate. So, starring Sydney Sweeney. And I got to tell you, it's like, I dug it. I really dug it. I checked out the reviews after I watched the movie. I just rented it from Prime for like $7. And because I've been meaning to see it, I still got to see The First Omen as well. But I'm slowly but surely ticking things off my list. And when I watched Immaculate, I really liked it. I love that it was grounded, that there was no wild, crazy, supernatural, blah! There was not, I mean, the biggest jump scare was probably when she was, well, anyway, I don't want to give any spoilers away, but I thought it was really good, really grounded, very Rosemary's Baby-esque in terms of its groundedness, and although of course it's modern with the modern polish to it, it's eerie, it's creepy. I thought Sydney Sweeney was terrific in it. I mean, she's really, and I say this with all due respect to her, but I had never heard of her before in my life until her Saturday Night Live appearance, and her boobs are practically, I mean, let's be honest, she's risen to prominence here because of, a big part of that is probably the boobage situation. And so, hey, whatever. But in this movie, she has a lot more range, and I thought she was terrific, and her performance at the end especially was really, really great. So anyway, I watched that. I really liked Immaculate. I thought it was great. One of the better horror movies I've seen in a while. And so it was a good birthday, busy but a good birthday. And the big 45. Here I am, 45 years old. Some people say I don't look a day over 30. You're very kind. You should see me in the morning. It's probably because I wear a hat all the time too. That's probably why it makes me look younger, maybe more hip and cool to the youngins. I don't know. But I appreciate that very much. So yes, thank you to each and every one of you that wished me a happy birthday, which was yesterday. My birthday was yesterday. So let's jump into the tier ranking. I am going to be ranking all of the Halloween timelines And I've come to the conclusion that I think there are 7 of them. Although there's one timeline that I classify as a timeline that you don't usually hear people talk about. And I think I don't know if I was the first to coin this, but I never heard anybody talk about it, so I'll take credit for it until somebody can verify otherwise. But nonetheless, I'm going to give a tier ranking to the Halloween timelines. And I have come to the conclusion that there are 7 timelines. My God, Halloween, what the hell is wrong with you? So let's jump over to the other screen here. And here we are. So at the very top of the list here, we have McRae. The next one is I really dig this as an option. The next one after that is it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. And then meh. And then the last one, of course, is warm diarrhea in a bucket on a hot summer day. So the rankings are the very top, McRae. It's amazing. It's amazing. Don't change anything. I really dig this as an option. It's okay. Meh. And warm diarrhea in a bucket on a hot summer day. That, ladies and gentlemen, are the options. Now, there are the timelines at the bottom. So we have the OG, we have OG and Halloween 2. We have what I like to call the Lumis trilogy, which is Halloween 1, 2, and 4. Okay. And then it just ends at 4. There is no Thorn trilogy. Okay. You have the Thorn timeline, not the Thorn trilogy, but the Thorn timeline, which would be 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. I know that 4, 5, and 6 are classified as the Thorn trilogy, but that in and of itself isn't necessarily a complete story. Do you know what I mean? So I've included 1 and 2 in the Thorn timeline because they are canon. 1 and 2 are canon with 4, 5, and 6. As crazy as that sounds. And then there is the H2O timeline, which is 1, 2, H2O Resurrection. So it's 78, 81, 98, and 2002. Then we have the DGG timeline, which is 1, 18, 21, and 22. So it's 1, Halloween 18, Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends. Then we have the Witch timeline, which is just Halloween 3. And then we have the Zombie timeline, which of course is just Halloween 1 and Halloween 2 from 2007 and 2009. So as you can see, I have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hang on. 1, 2, 3, oh, what? Wait, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Excuse me, 8. There's 8. I said 7 at the top of the show. 8. I've been able to muster up 8 timelines, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this is like, it's crazy. It's crazy. So anyways, let's jump into it and rank them, shall we? And if you're tuning in late, well, it's not my problem. You can watch after. So obviously this should go without saying. Let's go in order here. The OG, it is, the original film was always supposed to be a one-off movie. I know if you follow me for any length of time, you've heard me say it a trillion times, but it is true. It was always designed to be a one-off film. Michael Myers is not gone at the end of the movie to set up a sequel. He is gone to bring the message of the movie home, to bring it all home, to bring it all together. That is why Laurie Strode says it was the boogeyman. That is what she says at the end, folks. Not, was it the boogeyman? Whatever 500 other things people think she says. She says she says it was the boogeyman, but it comes out as more like, 'twas the boogeyman, 'twas the boogeyman. And Dr. Lumis says, as a matter of fact, it was. And it was written that way and performed that way to bring Laurie's arc to a conclusion. She has an arc in that movie. At the very beginning of the movie, she doesn't believe in the boogeyman. Laurie, what's the boogeyman? Tommy, there's no such thing. You know, and she's skeptical. Even though she thinks she sees something weird going on with this guy in a mask, she's not automatically, you know, making the gigantic conclusion that, oh, this is some super, you know, half supernatural, half man kind of killer that wants to kick my ass. She doesn't make that leap, right? It's Halloween. Maybe it's Ben Tramer. Maybe it's somebody from her high school. Who knows, right? She just thinks it's kind of creepy and kind of weird because there's somebody following her home. But at the end of the movie, she realizes, oh my God, it was the boogeyman. As a matter of fact, Laurie, it was. And that's why he's gone at the end of the movie, to help instill and reinforce that and bring it home. And that's it. And then, of course, the movie ends with different static shots of different locations that you've been throughout the movie. You begin to hear his breathing, cut to black, roll credits. That's it. That's it. It's a 90-minute Hitchcock Twilight Zone ghost story. I mean, that's really what it is for all intents and purposes. It was never designed to have a sequel. John Carpenter and Deborah Hill never wanted to do a sequel. There was no point. There was no more to tell. And as John Carpenter famously says, boy, was I wrong. Holy shit. But nonetheless, for me, I think it is, when you just factor in the OG as a standalone movie with nothing more after that, it is a terrific, spooky, late night horror movie story that you can just stop watching there. It literally, there is no reason to go on. I mean, there really isn't. It's done. However, if you do want to go on and you want a less ambiguous ending, and you want something a little more, maybe more of a, say less ambiguous, more certain, potentially on people's fates, then you can go Halloween 1, Halloween 2 as its own timeline. I mean, Michael Myers at the end of Halloween 2 does die. I mean, he's burning in the fire. It was John Carpenter's intention. He wrote Halloween 2. It was his intention to kill the killer. And he had to bring in the brother-sister story arc, which was not in Halloween 1. Michael Myers was not, they were not related in Halloween 1. So as much as we try to, put a square peg into a round hole and try and find things that match in Halloween 1, it's purely happenstance or coincidence. If you can try and connect, people have been trying to do that for years, and that's why it's always kind of awkward, because it was never designed that way. However, like I said, if you want to include that, a lot of people love the brother-sister story arc. It's iconic. It's classic. Many people would like that, would prefer that. That's fair, and you can watch it. And Halloween 2 has an ending. It has an ending. It absolutely, unequivocally has an ending. Laurie Strode, shoots Michael in the eyes. Michael is blind. He's waving around that scalpel, and it's time, Michael. Lights the lighter, hits the gas, the whole thing blows up. He's on fire. He falls to the ground, and that shot of just his mask burning. Michael is dead. He is gone. He was never this literal supernatural being like a Freddy or a Jason. He was just supposed to be like this supernatural kind of edge. It's kind of strange, kind of weird, and that's it. And of course, Laurie gets taken into an ambulance off to the next hospital. We presume that she meets her parents and she lives happily ever after, whatever the case is. The shape is gone. So I will put this here. I really dug it. I've always really dug this as an option. I appreciate it. I think Halloween 2 is still, to this day, the best sequel in the franchise, hands down, and I don't even think it's close, to be honest with you. I mean, Halloween 4 is a fan favorite, so that's probably the closest. But, 5, meh, 6, meh, H2O, fan favorite, but for me, meh, Resurrection, meh. You know what I'm saying? 18 is probably the next after 2, maybe and 4. But in terms of making it feel like the original, obviously Halloween 2 came out in 1981. That's only 3 years removed from 1978. So, the technology and, the film stock and the production value, and, even though it's 3 years removed, it still feels like it lives and breathes in that same year. So it because it picks up immediately, where the first one left off, it really does feel like you're watching one movie with two separate parts because of it having the same production value and that same kind of that same vibe. The soundtrack's amazing, of course, the pumpkin opening intro. And I mean, there's a lot to love about Halloween 2. Yes, it sort of goes down the avenue of now we're showing more blood and, you see his eyes and the brother-sister story arc and all that kind of stuff I could have done without. But at the end of the day, I think it still packs a nice 1-2 punch and there's a definitive ending on it. So I dig it. I've always dug just kind of that as its own thing. Now this, I have coined this next one as the Lumis trilogy. The Lumis trilogy. And that is Halloween 1, Halloween 2, and Halloween 4. You can watch Halloween 1, 2, and 4 and leave it there, and it suddenly becomes its own, it becomes very much Loomis's story at that point, especially when you get to Halloween 4. It becomes Loomis's story, not necessarily Laurie's story, if you know what I mean. I was going to say Laurie and Michael, but not necessarily Laurie's story. It's Loomis's. And Halloween 4 has got one of the greatest endings of all time in horror. It doesn't get enough love, obviously, because outside of the series, it doesn't really pack a punch. But when you watch Halloween 1, 2, and 4, and you leave it there, you do not go on to Halloween 5. You do not go on to Halloween 6. You do not go on to H2O. You pretend in your own mind that Halloween 4 was the last Halloween movie. And if it really did end there, wow, what a powerful ending. It brings it full circle. Evil wins. See, at the end of the original Halloween, does evil win? Yeah, I guess so. For all intents and purposes, Michael's shot 6 times. He's been stabbed in the abdomen. He's been, stabbed in the neck with a knitting needle and he's taken off. But it's ambiguous, right? It's creepy. It's eerie. Oh my God. I think, Halloween 2 is definitive. He's burning, he's dying. There's no cliffhanger ending. He doesn't leap out of the ambulance. He doesn't. I know there's the TV version where somebody sits up in the back and it's actually Jimmy and, Laurie's Jimmy. There's that, but it's not Michael Myers. There's no cliffhanger ending. Good wins, evil loses. But with Halloween 4, it brings it full circle right to that cinematic tableau at the end of the original Halloween film where you have little 6-year-old Michael standing there. Michael takes the mask off. He's got the gigantic butcher knife in his hand. We're tracking back. It's a crane shot. We're pulling back. And oh my God. And it just, ends right there and you go to 1978. With Halloween 4, there is this little girl. Obviously, Danielle Harris was older than 7, but I believe she's supposed to be 7 in Halloween 4, if I'm not mistaken, because I think Rachel even says that at some point, refers to her age as 7. But there she is, this 7-year-old girl in a clown costume, standing there at the top of the stairs, but instead of scissors, instead of a butcher knife, it's scissors, and Lumis is losing his shit. No! You know what I'm saying? No! It's like, oh my God, no! And it's just like, holy fuck. You know what I mean? It's like, yes, like that's awesome. And then it just cuts to black and that's it. So if you never went on and you just ended it there, as far as a little 1, 2, 3 punch, or 1, 2, 3 punch, we'll say that. Well, that's totally not the saying, but as like a little trilogy all on its own, 1, 2, 4 as like a little trilogy. If you don't go on and you don't do anything, I would put it in McRae. Because you go on, it lowers it, because I know there is a Halloween 5, which comes after Halloween 4, it can drop and drop. But certainly if it's just that, just 1, 2, 4, and you end on this ominous note, the girl at the top of the stairs, Lumis was going to kill her. Lumis was going to shoot that girl. He was going to shoot her. He didn't give a fuck. He pulled out his gun. He pulled out his revolver. He was literally going to murder a child because he could not stand the thought of having it start all over again. And it doesn't end on a cliffhanger with Myers, right? It ends with that little girl. You don't need to go on. You did not need to make any more. It was such a powerful ending. It was terrific. And it brings the message of what Lumis was talking about with evil and the blackest eyes, and we got to be careful, this and all the shit that he's been saying. It brings it full circle. It hammers home, reinforces it. There it is. Evil wins. It's like it bookends it perfectly. You got the beginning with little Michael standing there with the night. You got the fucking child, his niece with the clown and stay at the top of the stairs, just standing there. And I love that you can see her breathing in and out. If I'm not mistaken, little Jamie Lloyd, I think you can see her kind of going. Not like that much, but you know what I mean? Like you can actually see her breathing a little bit, which is really, really cool. I think anyway, unless I'm completely misremembering that. But you know what? On its own, as just a little three movie trilogy, all trilogies are 3 movies, Dave, but just a little trilogy, I think it's pretty fucking McRae. The Thorn timeline, not the Thorn trilogy, ladies and gentlemen, not the Thorn trilogy, but the Thorn timeline, which includes 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. You have to include that because in the Thorn trilogy, they are part of that timeline. Well, this is just crap. This is just, I'm sorry, and it wasn't until Halloween 5 and it was Halloween 5 that introduced the Thorn, right? The mark of Thorn and all that, because in Halloween 4, there is no tattoo. You can watch Halloween 4. There's no mention of Thorn. There's no tattoo. It is only Halloween 5 when Don Shanks, he's lying on that slab of concrete and he turns over his wrist and there it is. What is that? I don't know. And then if you're paying really close attention as Dr. Lumis is walking through the Gothic style, what the hell is this Myers house? You can see the little mark of Thorn on the walls. Really cool. I actually like that. I think that's pretty cool. It's very subtle. They don't draw attention to it. They don't necessarily focus heavily on it. It's just kind of there in the background for, the audience to pick it up. But as much as the Thorn timeline has its fans, I am not a fan. I have never been a fan of the direction they took it. I've never been a fan of the Thorn trilogy. I've never been a fan of the Thorn story. I've never been a fan of the Thorn angle. It's very, that doesn't mean that I cannot find redeeming qualities in some of those films that I don't like. But as a whole, if I'm ranking the Thorn timeline, again, not the trilogy, not just those, 3 movies, but the Thorn timeline, thinking about how 1 connects to 6, right? It's like, really? What? You know what I'm saying? When I'm thinking of it as a timeline, I just can't get behind it. It's just, it is warm diarrhea in a bucket on a hot summer day. It is warm diarrhea in a bucket on a hot summer day. What can I say? All right, the H2O timeline. Oh, this is going to hurt Wolfman's Got Nards because he's such a big fan, and it's going to hurt a lot of the H2O fans. Look, I know Halloween H2O is a fan favorite, and I've said this many times, and it is a fan favorite for a couple of reasons. One, depending on your age, it could have been the first Halloween movie you ever saw. It could also have been the first Halloween movie you ever saw in the movie theater. It may have been the movie that got you into Halloween. And I understand that and I respect that. And it's not the worst in the franchise by any stretch of the imagination. But it is not a Halloween movie that I revisit often. I think it's void of any sort of Halloween atmosphere. It's very much a product of its time, very much a Scream Halloween movie. So it's got that sort of polish on it. Like I always say, it's like Michael Myers walked onto the set of Dawson's Creek. And there's reasons for that. And so I understand and respect those who like it, but it's not, I'm not a fan of Halloween H2O and certainly not a fan of Halloween Resurrection. So it's very difficult for me to get behind it. However, will I go as far as to say that it is a warm diarrhea? No, I would not go as far as to say that, but for me, it's just meh. It's just meh. It's just, I it's just bad. I think because we have, listen, as many of you who want to stop with Halloween H2O, I mean, it is, I get that. I guess that could have been another timeline that I could have added in here. Maybe I could have added, like how I did with the Lumis trilogy, maybe I could have added the sort of not including Resurrection. Maybe that's a 9th timeline. And maybe I could have done that, which might have, so this here is actually including Resurrection. But if you don't include Resurrection, I would probably put it into maybe it's okay. It's okay because the sort of the turn of events for Laurie Strode, the arc for her character and how she kind of fights back and she's got that sort of that nice 180. I agree with those that say that really like that. Sure. Okay. And if it was just 1, 2, and H2O, it's okay. It's okay. I couldn't care less whether I watched it ever again, but it's okay. But this thumbnail was created with Resurrection attached to it, so I have to put it in meh. And I put it in meh solely because of, listen, if H2O was not involved, I mean, it would be down here because Resurrection is just terrible. But I'm putting it in meh just because of the redeeming qualities of H2O, for which there are a few. But I'm not a big fan of H2O, as we know. So I would put that timeline, 1, 2, H2O, and Resurrection in meh. But if I was, which I did not create a thumbnail for, I forgot that could have been its own thing. If I was ranking, 1, 2, and H2O as its own timeline, which you could do actually. I'm surprised I didn't remember to do that. Then I would put that in it's okay. It's okay. So just imagine that in it's okay. But I didn't create a thumbnail for that. My apologies. So yeah, so that's 9 timelines. Jesus. All right, the DGG timeline, ladies and gentlemen. The DGG timeline. This is Halloween 1, 18, kills, and ends. For me, it's okay. It's okay. It's not, I don't really dig it, and it's certainly not McRae'sing. I think, despite my issues with Halloween kills and Halloween ends, certainly they are, certainly kills. I have a lot of issues with kills, but certainly they are, they are not catastrophic failures. Of course, that's subjective. There are people that think Halloween Resurrection is way better than Halloween Ends, and I just don't know what crack you're smoking. But nonetheless, I respect that. And to each their own, different strokes for different folks. But I will say that as a whole, as a timeline, 1, 18 kills and ends, it's okay. Like it's okay. It's depending on my day, depending on my mood, it could be meh, but today it's okay. It's okay. Halloween 18, certainly when Halloween 18 came out, it was the best Halloween movie we had had in years. It was better than Rob Zombie's 2, better than Rob Zombie's 1, better than Resurrection, better than H2O, better than 6, better than 5. It might have been the best Halloween movie we have had since Halloween 4. Really, if you want to get there. Now, some people may take issue with that because, as I said, there are a lot of Halloween H2O fans out there. But when I saw 18, although I was a little disappointed with it, it still is one of the better Halloween movies in the franchise. There's no doubt about it. They finally got the mask right. James Jude Courtney is great. The music is phenomenal. Do you know what I'm saying? As much as we're maybe a little tired of Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode, she still did great. There were some great moments in that movie. I mean, it is the best in the David Gordon Green trilogy, hands down, and I don't even think it's close. But if I'm ranking it as a timeline, 1, 18 kills and ends, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Which Halloween 3 as its own timeline. Halloween 3 as its own timeline. It is the only anthology film, and I'm still hoping they do something with Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, which I think would be really cool. But nonetheless, it's its own thing. I am not a huge fan of this movie. I know that this movie in retrospect has gained sort of a cult following. There are a lot of fans that love it. For me personally, I have never loved it, but I've never hated it. I would put it in, it's okay. It's okay. You know, I was going to put it in meh, but I'm like, nah, it's okay. It's okay. Like, I mean, I don't get, like, I couldn't care less if they ever revisited it or whatever. And I'm not the huge fan that a lot of Halloween fans are of Halloween 3, but it's okay. You know, it's grown on me a little bit more over the years. You know, let's just put it this way. I could not care less if they made a sequel to it or a prequel to it or any movie that tells us that Halloween 3 is canonical. Right, is canon to the movie. I would be okay and maybe prefer if they just remade it. I think you could remake the story of Halloween 3 today and do it way better. I don't mean add $30 million to the budget, but you could make a great psychological horror film around this, you know, small town where these kids start, you know, being affected by these masks and, you know, with a bigger, and really create more of a dystopian apocalyptic feel, you know, and really make it feel like it's penetrating not just, you know, your small town, but your state, and then not just your state, but, you know, your country, and not just your country, but maybe the world. Like, really make it feel like it's. I actually think it would be a great series. I think you could turn the Halloween 3 story into a great horror series. You know, and not maybe 5 or 6 seasons, but certainly maybe like a mini series, maybe like a 6-part mini series or something, and each episode is an hour or something like that. So that's like 6 hours, something like that. I think would be really cool. But I've never loved Halloween 3, the story of Halloween 3 and Halloween 3 enough where I'm like, oh, I want a sequel or I want this or that. I'm just, you know, whatever. It's okay. It's okay. You know, I've always kind of felt that way. All right, and last but certainly not least, the zombie timeline for me. Well, we're going to go McRae. No. We're going down to warm diarrhea in a bucket on a hot summer day. Warm diarrhea in a bucket on a hot summer day. I've just never been able to get on board with this. I've never been able to appreciate it on the same levels that a lot of Halloween fans have. So I never watch them. I never revisit them because it just isn't what Halloween is for me. However, depending on my mood, this might go into a meh, but I got to put it down here because it's just not what Halloween is for me. However, I will say this, and you guys know me. I give credit where credit is due. Rob Zombie, not so much with part 1, although a little bit with part 1, but certainly with part 2, he didn't just do the same thing over again. He didn't just do a carbon copy of Halloween 2 from 1981. And the opening of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is arguably one of the greatest openings in the franchise. You know, with the hospital dream sequence and the death of Octavia Spencer. It was Octavia Spencer, right? Yeah. It is, I mean, I wish the rest of the movie was like that. I wish the rest of the movie was as visceral and as intense and as creepy and as dark as that. But unfortunately for me, the creative liberties that Rob Zombie chose to take, which I celebrate in an ironic sense because, you know, he's not just literally doing a beat for beat remake, right? So I celebrate that in the same ways that I celebrate what the 2006 movie did for Black Christmas, right? Black Xmas. But I never revisit, I never watch it because it's just not for me. But I celebrate the principle of not just doing the same thing over again. It's just creatively, it's not my cup of tea, not my style, not for me. Not for me. But if it is for you, I think that's awesome and that's great. But I am mature enough and objective enough to be able to celebrate on principle alone and appreciate and give credit where credit is due, with the fact that he did his own thing. He didn't just do a carbon copy, right? He did his own thing. He took creative. It worked for some. It didn't work for others. And that's okay. That's okay, right? But it's so extreme, and it's just so a little too much for my liking. So there you have it, folks. The OG movie on its own is McRae. If you take just the Lumis trilogy, 1, 2, and 4, there is no 5, there is no 6, there is no Thorn, there ain't no Rob Zombies movies, there ain't no 18 Kills and Ends. You just take 1, 2, and 4 on its own. It's McRae, man. It's the Lumis trilogy, and it's such a dystopian, not dystopian, but well, maybe, but sort of a defeating, deflating ending. Evil wins. No, Lumis was going to murder a fucking child because of how crazy he just can't do it again. It was so awesome. Just great. And then, of course, 78 and 81. 78 and 81, I really dig it. I dig it. Some people may be surprised that it's not in here. It's not in the McRae. But I think that could be because looking at it from, I think the ending of Halloween 4 is more powerful. And I think the ending of Halloween 4 makes the most sense and is the most in line with the ending of the OG. So the ending of Halloween 2, although I like it, it is more of a button. Right? It is more of a button on it. Good wins, evil loses. Laurie gets taken to the next town, maybe to Russellville. She gets taken to another hospital. Her parents will meet her there, I'm sure, and she lives happily ever after, whatever the case is. So it totally works. I really like Halloween 2. It is still my favorite sequel in the franchise. The music, the opening, you don't know what death is. I mean, it's a classic. It is... I love and adore Halloween 2, but I think if I'm comparing the two timelines as timelines, I much prefer the dystopian, if you will, sort of evil wins ending of Halloween 4 because of how much it feels more like a bookend to Halloween. And it's just like, of course this would be how it ends. This has to be how it ends. Of course, right? Like it just makes, now there's many different ways that you can do that, but it just kind of makes sense. You know what I mean? Of course, full circle. It's a full circle moment. And I really appreciate that. So that could be a deciding factor of why. And then of course, it's okay. It's okay, right? The David Gordon Green trilogy, it's okay. It's okay. Maybe it'll grow on me over the years. It's okay. Halloween 3, of course, Season of the Witch has its own thing. It's okay. It's okay. If you were to include, which I did not create a thumbnail here for, and I totally forgot about it, that this was even a thing until I started doing the show today. If you were including just the H2O timeline in terms of 1, 2, and H2O. H2O is the ending. So his head is chopped off. I would put that in, it's okay. It's okay. I would put that in, it's okay. But I don't have that here. But just imagine it there. The full circle sort of H2O timeline, which includes Resurrection, I put that in meh. Like it's just, yeah, it's meh. Because there's certain things that I like, but it's meh. Overall, it's just meh. And depending on the day, that could definitely be in a warm bucket of diarrhea. Thorn timeline, not the Thorn trilogy, the Thorn timeline for which the Thorn trilogy is a part of. It's warm bucket of diarrhea, and the zombie movie's warm bucket of diarrhea. Anyways, folks, that is my ranking of the Halloween timelines. How do you rank them? Do you agree? Do you not agree? Remember, folks, this is all in good fun. This is all just fun, and just try not to have a spaz It's all in good fun, ladies and gentlemen. But hey, if you're watching after the fact, jump into the comment section and let me know your thoughts on how you would rank the Halloween timelines, where you would put them and why. I would really like to know, and I would appreciate it. And yeah, that's where it is, folks. And how would you rank them? We have McRae. I really dig this as an option. It's okay. Meh. And a warm bucket, excuse me, a warm diarrhea in a bucket on a hot summer day. You got to get creative, right? You got to get creative. Let me know your thoughts when you can. All right, let's jump over to the chat room and see what all of you are saying. Now, I think just one super chat came in, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. I just want to make sure I get it so I don't mistake. No, two came in, actually. Matthew Farisi sends in $4.99. Thank you, Matthew, and says, for me, the anthology timeline, H1 and H3. That's my favorite. Happy birthday, Dave. So you're including H1 and H3, but H1 is not connected to H3. There is no connection. Halloween 1 is a fictional movie in Halloween 3, right? So Halloween 1 from 1978 cannot be canonically connected in the same universe as 3, because remember, Tom Atkins sees a commercial for Halloween and watches Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode banging on the Doyle house door on the TV. So it's not like, unless you've created your own sort of alternate reality timeline, okay, that's cool. But I would not include those two movies together because they literally can't. They literally can't. That's how I see it. That wouldn't make much sense, but I respect that. Nick Jenny sends in $1.99, says, much love, Dave. Thank you, Nick. Really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's jump over and let's see what's going on. And by the way, thank you for all the birthday messages. Again, it was my birthday yesterday, my 45th. I appreciate it. I saw all the hearts and the balloons and the cakes and everything in the chat. So thank you. I appreciate that very much. It means a lot. It means a lot. Let me see here. We got the Sound Painter Studio says 1, 2, and 4 felt like the perfect trilogy. They felt like they connected very well and are much more straightforward as to what they want to be. I think it's my, like, as a trilogy, 1, 2, and 4, I think work really well together simply because of 4's ending. That doesn't mean that I love The Mask in 4, or I love George P. Wilbur as The Shape, or, any issues I have with 4, I still have. But when I look at it as a timeline in terms of a story, I think the Lumis trilogy, as I like to call it, again, I don't know if anybody else has ever called it that over the years, but a few years ago, I coined that. At least it felt like I coined it, because there were people that were talking about it as a trilogy, but I just sort of said the Lumis trilogy, and I think it began to catch on, because it really, when you watch 1, 2, and 4, it really does become Lumis's story at that point, especially when you watch 4, right? And so I think it's a great ending. It's ominous, it's eerie, and it's a nice bookend, and brings it full circle and makes the most sense in a lot of ways if you think about it. Frank, wow, is that 45 cakes? That looks like that could be 45 cakes right there. Thank you, Frank. I really appreciate that. 45 cakes, ladies and gentlemen. Amazing. Amazing. I didn't have cake. I should. What is your favorite cake, folks? You know what my favorite cake is? Listen, cake is cake, okay? Cake is cake. Is there really a bad cake? It's like pizza. Right? Pizza is pizza. Yes, some pizza is better than others, depending on the toppings and the thickness of the crust and the cheese. I get all that. But at the end of the day, pizza is pizza. And I kind of feel that way about cake. Now, my favorite cake is blueberry cheesecake. My mother used to make that back in the 80s when I was a little boy. And I don't know if she made it for my birthday or not. I can't remember, but maybe it was just for like a Christmas or something. I'm not sure, but I love blueberry cheesecake. My favorite cake. But just your standard birthday cake, it's amazing. I'm there. Cake is cake. Cake is cake. Zachary Azar says, I agree with Dave's list. Very cool. That's awesome. Thanks, man. Thank you. Appreciate that. 40. Oh God. Now Frank's into 45. What is that? Ice cream sundaes? I'm not sure what that is. 45 Sundays, maybe. I'm not sure. Let me see here. Just scrolling back. Want to see John Johnson says that shot of Michael burning at the end of Halloween 2 was badass. I absolutely agree. It was great. Deadhead 777 says it's time for an ice cold one with Dave McRae. Cheers. Thank you very much. Zodiac Z says Corey, no match for them. Wee Chung Lee tapes. I think it's going over my head. I'm not quite sure what you mean. Let me scroll back here. NKB guy plops in a it's me Billy emoji. Appreciate that. Thank you. Happy Sanjo putting in the Jaws emojis. Warren Armour says, I want to see a Smokey and the Bandit prequel starring some great actors and a great story. I would immensely enjoy it. I don't think you're going to get a Smokey and the Bandit prequel. I would be shockingly surprised. Maybe you'll get a Smokey and the Bandit remake. Maybe you'll get that. I'm not sure. You never know. Let me see here. Super chat comes in from Josh McKenna. Hey, Josh, what's going on? Thanks, buddy. Sends in a $9.99 super chat and says, I saw someone got mad at you because you didn't follow them back on Instagram. Maybe it was Kathy Bates and she wanted to tell you she was your number one fan. Oh, yeah. On social media a few days ago, I made a post. This was about a week or so ago. Somebody had reached out to me and said they had followed me and unfollowed me 14 times. And they were asking why I wasn't following them back. And I said, well, it's just simply because I don't know you. I don't do the tit for tat thing, right? You know what I mean? There are some people, listen, it's different strokes for different folks. There are some people that will use social media as a means to gain as many followers as they possibly can. And they feel the only way to do that, if they're not a public figure or, in the public eye in some sort of way, is the tit for tat system, which is you follow me, I'll follow you. So, that's why you'll often see, people that have maybe, 10,000 followers, but they're also following like 9,000 people. Do you know what I mean? I have no interest, and it's not personal. I just have no interest in having my feeds, whether that's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, clogged up with random people I don't know. And it's not personal. I don't know you. So I have no investment into your life. Like I don't care. I wish you well and thank you for following. You follow me because of the channel or because of voiceover or because of, whatever the case is. Like know me. I don't know you, you know what I mean? And so I had to explain this to him and he still didn't get it. And I said, okay, well, do me a favor. Go onto Facebook, type in some random name, and the first person that pops up, add them as a friend. And they said, why would I do that? And I said, exactly. And they still didn't get it. They still didn't understand that I was saying, well, you wouldn't add some random person as a friend because you don't know them and you don't care about them and you don't care to have their vacation photos and feet photos and food photos clogging up your timeline because you don't know them. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I don't care. I don't care about Bob Smugga. I don't care. So, it is an interesting, I felt, but I was polite. I was professional. I was polite. I just was saying, hey, listen, I'm so glad you enjoy the channel. I don't know you. That's why I'm not following you back. It's not that I hate you. I just don't know you. I mean, I only follow people back that I either know, whether personally, I have some association with on some level. So it's a fellow voice actor. It's a fellow industry professional, filmmaker, whatever the case is, producer, director, whatever the case is, or it's somebody who I've made a connection with here on YouTube, right? Whether that's just through being on their channel or them being on my channel or whatever the case is. But beyond that, I don't. I just don't. It's just how I want to control sort of my feed. So when I log on to Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, my feed is full of posts from people I am interested in, right? You know what I mean? Not how Margaret and Steve's honeymoon went. I mean, I don't care. Although I wish Margaret and Steve well, whoever they are. But yeah, no, it was really funny. It was really funny. Let me see here. Let me scroll back. Evil Alex says, my favorite timeline is just the OG, then the DGG films. There you go. Only films that have Myers with great mask and no motivation sister arc. That's true. Love the kills, the music, and James is perfect as older Nick Myers. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. Yeah, no, there's a lot to like, right? Where did I put it? I put it in the, it's okay. I put it in the, it's okay. Because I'm ranking it as a timeline, right? As a story. And it's okay. But there is a lot to love, for sure. The mask, James Jude Courtney, the music. I mean, there is a lot more to like, I personally think, in the DGG trilogy than there is in like Halloween H2O. I mean, the music in Halloween H2O, I mean, there's one moment where it's the Scream music. It's like, what the fuck are we doing? Right? You know what I mean? The atmosphere, the cinematography, the mask, the music, the setting. I mean, all of that in the DGG trilogy blows Halloween H2O to smithereens, right? So there is a lot to like. Now we can start diving into story and motivation and character and that kind of stuff and structure and okay, maybe, but there was a lot of good things there. Happy Sanjo. Hey, Happy, what's going on? One of our members says, Dave, I read that convo and it sounds like you talking to yourself, if you know what I mean. You have brought that subject periodically in YouTube under the same points. Maybe someone is that slow. Oh, well, yeah. I mean, look, there's, he wasn't the first person that has done that. Right. I mean, there have been other people that have, we have to remember, Happy, that not everybody watches everything that I do. You're a loyal, viewer, right? You're a loyal member. And so you will tune in often. So you'll hear me say the same things a lot, right? You'll hear me, repeat myself, hammer home points, all that kind of stuff. But there are lots of people that don't tune into everything I do. They only tune in when it's a topic they're interested in. They only tune in maybe when it's Halloween, right? So unless they're tuning in all the time, whoever this person was may never have heard me say that, may never have heard me mention that ever. And so there's a lot of people, like I've had people, believe it or not, I've had people reach out to me and say, Dave, great to see you back. I've missed you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I've posted 8 or 9 streams in the last 2 weeks. Where the hell were you? Well, it's probably because it's stuff they're not interested in, right? So they're not tuning in. Do you know what I'm saying? So they're saying that on a Halloween video or a Freddy video, but they're not really interested in my thoughts on long legs or, cinematic language or whatever. So it's not that I'm gone, right? It's just that they think I'm gone because I'm not posting stuff they're tuning into or they want to tune into. So they kind of have me on the peripheral. Do you know what I mean? That happens all the time too. Dave, great to see you back. I've always been here. You're just not tuning in. So it is interesting. There's a lot of, and then there are people obviously there are certain people and it's not just with me. It can be with A-list celebrities. It can be with other YouTubers. There can be, depending on who you are as a person, depending on, there can be, and this is unfortunate when this happens, a parasocial relationship that develops for the viewer. And all that means is, a parasocial relationship is a one-sided relationship where somebody will, because they're really enamored with you or they feel they really connect with you because you share a lot of the same interests or you have the same personality or you said hello to them one day in the chat room or you answered a question one day or whatever the case is, right? Maybe they're lonely, they don't have a lot of friends, and they really connect with you. And so, but you don't know they exist. Right? You have no idea they exist, but they really kind of feel they know you and they reach out to you and they think about you and all that kind of stuff. But you have no idea who they are and no idea that they exist. And I don't know for sure, but maybe to add me and not add me 14 times, like to add me and then de-add me and add me, that in and of itself is, and I say this with all due respect, that's not normal. Like usually people will add you and then just leave it. And if you add them back, you add them back. If you don't, you don't, right? There's not this like add, take away, add to, like just that in and of itself is a little strange. So that tends to sort of allude to maybe there's a little bit of that parasocial thing. But yeah, no, it was a real message. It was Instagram. It was an Instagram message. It wasn't Facebook. It was an Instagram DM that I got a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago. And I was, polite, professional. But yeah, not everybody watches everything I do, right? Like you have your diehards, right? Like your Chesters, your Rosalias, your Happies, your MAGA cats, right? I see you guys in there all the time, no matter what I'm talking about, right? But I have thousands of people that are sub to me, that watch me, that follow me on social media, and not everybody tunes into the same things, right? And there is a certain section, a certain part of my fan base, if you will, that will only tune in if I'm talking Halloween, right? You know what I mean? Because they're just like, and that's just the way it is. So different strokes for different folks, and you're right that I have talked about it before. I have mentioned it because it isn't the first time that it's happened. But whoever this guy was, I guess just didn't get the memo. So, but I was polite. I'm always polite, always professional. I'm not going to ream on the guy. I just was polite and said, oh, it's not personal. If I don't know you, I'm not going to follow you, right? If we don't have some sort of connection in some sort of way, there's no reason to follow back. I personally, and I only speak for myself, there may be some people on YouTube, there may be some celebrities or whatever the case is that do it differently. But for me personally, I'm not a tit for tat guy. You follow me, I follow you. I don't, I will follow you if there's a reason for me to follow you, if I'm interested in your content. And that's just so I keep my house and room in terms of social media nice and tidy. But that's just me. That's just me. It's not personal. Not personal at all. Andrew Stevens gifted a membership. Hey, very cool. Gifted Evil Alex a membership. Amazing. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate that. That's awesome. Yeah. Very cool. Oh, yes. And to my level number 2 members, our next horror movie nights, I am working on the schedule right now. I know I'm a little late on it, but our next horror movie nights is coming to my level number 2 members. It's coming. It's going to be fun. Let me see here. Andrew. Yeah, it was Andrew Rawlinson. Did I say Andrew Stevens? I meant Andrew Rawlinson gifted a membership to Evil Alex. If I said Andrew Stevens, I meant Andrew Rawlinson. Josh McKenna, $1.99. Happy belated birthday. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Josh. Really appreciate that. There's Andrew Stevens. That's probably why I had Andrew Stevens in my head, who has been a member for 9 months. Andrew, of course, one of our great mods here on the channel, says, guys, make sure you have notifications set to all and not personalized to be notified when Dave goes live. That's another tip. Ooh, I did not know that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I did not know that. Yeah, it's true. I will plan. Mind you, I probably should do a better job of looking into seeing how it works. But there have been many times where I have set a live show. There are times where I set a live show and there's only like an hour's notice. I have been known to do that. But there are times where I will set a live show like 24 hours a day in advance, 2 days in advance. And there will still be people that will be like, oh, I didn't know you were going live. So either you don't have the notifications on, you're not subscribed to me, whatever the case is. Yeah, please do. Please do. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate that, buddy. Wade fucking Wilson, ladies and gentlemen, says, one day you're in the chat saying, hey, the next day you're being messaged by fake Dave McRae accounts being asked for $500 because he lost his wallet and he's stuck. Really? Did you get that? Oh, yeah. Folks, listen, if anybody reaches out to you on social media, maybe you're just joking. But I know that there have been people that have made fake accounts of me, or maybe it's just one person. Yeah, listen, if you ever get a DM from a Dave McRae with my avatar asking for money, it's not me. It's not me, not me, not me. Anytime you see anybody, whether it's some A-list celebrity, some YouTuber that is really well known, or whatever the case is, Cody Leach is not reaching out to you asking for money. I'm not reaching out to you asking for money. Nobody in the horror space, your Lee McCoys, your Whams, your Wolfman's Got Nards, your Jimmy Champagne, we're not reaching out to you asking for money. It's not us. Do not believe it. Do not buy into it. And neither is Al Pacino, okay? Just please, it is, well, maybe I shouldn't be surprised, but it is mind-blowing to me how there are some people out there that do believe it. Al Pacino reached out. No, Al Pacino did not reach out to you. Hooah! Great ass! Anyway, what movie is that from? Great ass! Let me know in the comments. What Al Pacino movie is that from? Of course, there could be a few movies, but the one I'm thinking of. Tenza Zengestu 59. Is that how you say that? I'm not sure. Hopefully I got it right. Says, I think that's it. Tenza Zengestu 59. Yes, I think so. Because that's a, yeah. Yeah, I think I know who you are. Dave, what do you think was the best birthday gift you've ever gotten? Ooh, the best birthday gift I've ever gotten. There's been so much. The McRae Live sign that I have, I think that was a birthday gift. Or was it a Christmas gift? I think it was a birthday gift. The McRae Live sign that, it's supposed to be on. I should have turned it on. Oh, well. It's down there. The McRae Live sign that says live on air. It's not a McRae Live sign. It's a sign that says live on air. I thought that was a really cool gift. One of my favorites for sure, hands down. I would say birthday gifts. I don't know. I seem to remember Christmas gifts more than birthday gifts. I think it's because as you get older, especially with birthdays, the gifting with birthdays seems to be a little more minimal than the gifting with Christmas. Like no matter how old you are, Christmas gifts are Christmas gifts and you tend to get proper Christmas gifts. Whereas as you get older for your birthday, right? As you get older, friends will give you gift cards or they'll take you out for dinner. Do you know what I mean? So I got to go like way back, I think, to when like I used to get like, lots of gifts for my birthday. It was probably something He-Man, but then that was probably Christmas. I was going to say Castle Grayskull, but that was probably for Christmas. But it was probably something like that, like He-Man toys, Ninja Turtle toys, something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was probably something like that. I remember for one of my birthdays, I think we went and played like laser tag. It was probably like my 13th birthday or something, or 12th birthday. I can't remember now, but that was a lot of fun. I'm very, I'm really chill. Like, especially at 45, right? I turned 45 yesterday and, you get to a certain age where happy birthday texts from people mean a lot, and taking you out for dinner, just being with friends, family. That's really kind of what, do you know what I mean? Like that's what really is all about, right? But yeah, that live on air sign, I think that was a birthday gift, was definitely one of my favorites for sure. It's because it's so cool, and it's so me. Even if I wasn't doing YouTube, the fact that I'm a voice actor, right? You know what I mean? And I'm always, on air, doing so, it's a great gift for the broadcasting person in your family. Let's just put it that way. So I've always really liked that. Happy Sanjo sends in $2. Thanks, Happy. Says, do you like comic book continuations of movies? Do I like comic book continuations of movies? I'm not quite sure what you mean. Like, do I like comic book continuations? Comic book continuations. Oh, I see. Oh, no. I get it. Okay. Nah, not really. I'm not a comic book guy. like I never collected comics. Like, I think they're cool for sure to flip through a comic and to see the artistry at work and the artists and you know the drawings and the coloring and all. Like, there are incredibly talented visual artists out there, and including Bruce Dale, who's a visual artist. He went to school for visual art. He can draw like it's nobody's business. And so I have a great respect for the medium, and a great respect for the artists that will, you know, illustrate. But comics as a whole, I don't like. I never collected comics. My brothers did years ago, but I never did. Although I do remember as a young boy in the 80s flipping through my brother Neil's Ghost Rider comics, and I thought it was so cool. I just never really went past that to find a place where I could collect them and get into them. I just never did. I don't know why, but I always loved like the artwork and everything. You know what I mean? So I would say, no, I probably wouldn't care. Like in a general sense, I don't care. Ethan LeBlanc, one of our great members. Thanks, Ethan. Sends in a member chat and says, I'm doing a surveillance right now, and I was so glad you came on. This guy ain't doing shit. Stay sharp. Surveillance. So do you work security? Working security? You're doing surveillance? Are you a police officer maybe? I'm not sure. Well, whatever you're doing, stay sharp as well, my man. You stay sharp as well. Thank you for the member chat. Appreciate that. Let me see here. Treos, is that how you say it? Treos? Says, yeah, scammers are trying that crap. I got one telling me I want a PS5 and I just needed to pay the shipping. It's been kind of bad the last year or so. Yeah, I mean, I'll get that too. Of course, it goes into my spam folder, but I'll get that on my phone, right? I'll get texts from, you've just won, whatever, or from the CRA, which is the Canadian Revenue Agency. It's our version of the IRS, right? Oh, good news. You're getting $50,000 back. It's like, but the crazy thing is that there are people out there that do fall for it. These things wouldn't exist if literally nobody fell for them. People do fall for them. And, obviously in a lot of cases, it tends to be the elderly or older, more vulnerable demographic. But there are still people my age and younger that still believe this, that still buy into it. Look at the catfishing that goes on, and it's remarkable to me. It really is. And I've been catfished. That's a whole other story. Not recently, obviously, but about almost 20 years ago, I was catfished. That's a whole other story, I should tell you guys. It was pretty crazy. Or maybe I have told it. I can't remember, but not catfished in the sense, hang on, let me actually make this clear. Not catfished in any financial way. So I didn't lose any money. I'm not stupid enough to send money overseas or that. No. Had nothing to do with money, nothing to do with that kind of thing. I mean catfish in the sense that I was talking to somebody online who wasn't who they said they were, is what I'm trying to say. So whether that alone makes it catfishing, I'm not sure, or maybe there has to be a financial component to it. I'm not sure. So maybe that doesn't quite qualify. But I've never, I've never been, taken for my money or anything like that. No. I've never given money to anybody. But it's an interesting story. It's an interesting story for sure. Ethan LeBlanc says, I'm a PI. Oh, cool. Private investigator. Very cool. Very, very, very cool. That's cool. That's really cool, man. That's really cool. I like that. Brandon Collins says, so you're saying I'm never going to see any money from the Nigerian prince I was talking to? Unfortunately, Brandon, well, maybe. I mean, you never know. It's amazing though, how many people fall for that stuff. It really is. It's remarkable how many people fall for it. It's crazy. And then like, you see these people, like I feel so sad. I feel so bad for them too. Like, you'll see them on like Dr. Phil or, some sort of talk show and it's usually women. I think women, listen, it happens to both. But I think like traditionally, I think you see it happen to women more because either they're lonely, they're older and somebody's taken an interest in them and, they give them the money and, oh, it's so sad. There's so many stories out there that are just like, fuck. You know what I mean? It's pretty crazy stuff. Pretty crazy. Let me see here. Michael King says, hey, Dave, I would love to see a great werewolf flick. That's not cheesy, like a new Howling. Well, that'd be cool. Yeah, I agree with that. CM, of course, one of our great executive producers on It's Me Billy Chapter 2, says, sounds like a topic from McRae Live number 262. I don't know if I'd do a whole topic on it, or like a whole show on it, but definitely I think it'd be fun. It'd be fun for sure. Dar Fitness says, your voice is imprinted in my mind. Michael Myers has a shelf life. Beyond true. Stop making the movies. We're good. And I love Halloween. I even have a Myers tattooed on me. That's really awesome, man. Yeah. Well, he does. Well, listen, all characters, all series, they all have shelf lives, right? It's just some will have a longer shelf life than others. Michael Myers, what we love about Myers, right? And that's so funny. The videos I did on those are probably like 5 or 6 years ago now. They're still on my channel and still just as relevant today, maybe even more so than they've ever been. But yeah, Michael Myers has a shelf life. The character that was created in Halloween 1, that character, the only Halloween movie that is canon in every timeline, apart from Halloween 3, and Rob Zombie's films, obviously, is the original film, right? So it's either 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, H2O, 1, 2, H2O Resurrection, or 1, 18 Kills and Ends. No matter what timeline, again, outside of 3 and outside of Rob Zombie's films, Halloween 1 is always canon. So that character that was created in that movie has a shelf life because of the foundation for which it was created. And the problem with doing many movies and extending the story with that version of Michael Myers is you inevitably run into major issues and problems because of the shortened shelf life that character has. And what I mean by that is it's best before date, right? So when you look at it like food, right? Well, this is best before May 30th. Okay, but that doesn't mean that if you were to have it on May 31st, you're going to die or you're going to get sick, depending on what it is, of course. But generally speaking, like cereal, well, it's best before this date. Okay, but I could probably eat it and continue to eat it a week or two after that. Do you know what I mean? But it's when that best before date, again, depending on the food item, but generally speaking, that best before date means it's best and it's most freshest. It's the best before. It's the most freshest before. Doesn't mean you're going to get sick and die if you have it the next day, right? But that's what it means. And so when you look at it from that perspective, Michael is at his best, right? Before it gets to a certain point. And because you can only extend that version of Michael Myers so far before the weird, the creepy, the unusual creep in. And we had it happen, right? Halloween 2, John Carpenter had to write a brother-sister story arc. Now, so many people love that, but he had to do that because, well, this guy's got a shelf life. So, okay, I'll do that. And then you look at 4. Well, now we got the niece involved, right? And then now you look at 5 and 6. And now we got Thorn involved. Now it's a cult, right? You know, now let's scrap that. Okay, then we go to H2O. Okay, but they're still brother-sister. Okay, and then he cuts off. Oh, no, wait, it's not his head cut off, and now it's actually the paramedic, and Michael got buck naked and changed clothes, and it's, oh, God, what the fuck? Oh, let's scrap it. You know, and then you look at Halloween, David Gordon Green's, right? Okay, you got part 1. Okay. And then you look at Halloween 18. Okay, not bad. Okay. And then you look at kills. You're like, structurally, what's going on here? Trauma, and it feels a little. And then you look at Halloween Ends. You know what I'm saying? And even though I like Halloween Ends and I like the Corey Cunningham story, Michael Myers is useless in that movie. And then it just kind of feels like the Michael Myers story doesn't make itself known till like the last 10 minutes. It's like, here we are. Like, there's only so much you can do with that version of Michael. Now, if you want to remake Halloween like what Rob Zombie did and start fresh, like, again, although it's not what I like from my Halloween, that's why I give credit to Zombie in many ways, because Halloween 1978 is not canon. He's starting over, so he can do whatever the fuck he wants. Now, because of how embedded into the pop culture this version of Michael is, it's difficult for OG purists like myself to be able to get on board with that kind of a Halloween movie. But if you want to get away from the shelf life, that's what you need to do. You need to start over and give the Myers character at inception, at birth, the opportunity to have a longer shelf life, right? So we can go 7 movies instead of 3. Do you know what I mean? And that can only be done with a new iteration, a new foundation, a new inception of the Myers character. Otherwise, if you keep making shit where the original film is canon, you're going to run into the same problem over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So at this point in the game, I think they need to leave 78 behind. They've done a legacy trilogy. Leave it behind. And whatever you do with Myers, create a new version, a new inception. Now, that doesn't mean we're all going to like it, but if you want Myers to have another 8 movies, it's the only path and even that is problematic. I'm just saying that the weird and creepy and fucked up and like, what? You know, jumping the shark may not happen in the 3rd movie. It may happen in the 6th movie or something. You know what I mean? Anyways, yeah, no, I agree. The original version, that inception, Halloween 78, that character for which it is, I'm supposed to believe that the Myers character in Resurrection is the same Myers character in Halloween 1. We see the problem here, don't we? Right? You know what I'm saying? Halloween 6 is the same Myers in Halloween 1. We see the problem here. And that's because that version of Michael in Halloween 1 has a shelf life. And his shelf life was really 1 movie. It was something that you buy at the grocery store that spoils the next day. What that would be, I don't know. It's like buying fresh bread in Italy. You know what I mean? Like a fresh loaf of bread that doesn't have all the preservatives and all that shit in it. And you got to eat it that night, because if you don't, you wake up the next morning and you want to make yourself some toast with that loaf of bread. You're not going to be able to, because it's going to be rock hard. And it's going to be rock hard because it doesn't have all this junk and fucking shit in it to preserve it for 6 weeks. It's a fresh baked loaf of bread that you picked up from the little Italian bakery down the corner, and you bring it home and, yeah, it's great. Slice it. But if you don't eat it within 24 hours, it's going to be cement. That's what that original version of Michael Myers is. Really at the end of the day. And so, yeah, we got to get past that. We got to get past it. And I'm okay now to do that. I'm okay if they do something a little different with, like, as long as the spirit is there, the DNA is there, the principles are there, I'm okay if we're starting to massage it a bit differently, because I do understand that to keep Myers around, we've got to do something a little bit different now. As long as it still feels like Halloween, smells like Halloween, and tastes like Halloween, I'm okay. But for Christ's sakes, don't make a goddamn TV series that is a sequel to the original film. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, although who knows? Maybe they will and it'll be amazing. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? All right, we'll go a little bit longer here, and then we'll call it a day. Ethan the Block, Mr. Private Eye, sends in a super chat. Thanks, buddy. $4.99, one of our great members. Says, did you ever see that video where they zoomed in and you can see Michael looking both ways at the intersection before pulling out? Funny stuff. I have seen that. Yes, I did see that. Yeah, no, that is funny. Well, that goes to tell you right there that and obviously being a low-budget indie shoot, I highly doubt they were able to lock off that portion of the street. So the cars you see going by, they just happen to be in the movie. And, like I said, low-budget indie shoot, $300,000. That can happen. They weren't blocking off streets, and I've been there, and that's a major sort of street in South Pasadena. So, yeah, he had to make sure there were no cars coming. You know what I mean? So I think it's really cool. It's fun. It's fun. Even Michael looks both ways, folks. Even Michael looks both ways. Not when crossing the street, though, chasing Lori, but they probably see that street, Orange Grove, which I believe is what it's called, which is right off Sunset Boulevard in West Hollywood. That street, I don't know if they blocked it off, but that street I could see being blocked off because it's a side street. It's a neighborhood side street. And I could see them blocking that off. I could see them going to the city, getting the right permits. We're going to be shooting here whatever the case is. I don't know if they did. You have to ask John Carpenter or Tom Lee Wallace, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. But that street in Pasadena, yeah, no, not on a low budget indie shoot like that. I don't think anyway, although I'm ready to be proven wrong. Okay, we'll go another 5 minutes. Treya says, I think the DGG trilogy could have been really good if it had wrapped up Michael's story in the third movie, then told Corey Cunningham's story, maybe making it seem like the boogeyman essence. Yeah, well, I've talked about that here on the channel, right? I've talked about it many times. I could not agree with you more. I think that would have been something. I think that would have been a good idea. Take one last quick look to see if just want to make sure I haven't missed any super chats. I don't believe I did. I have not. Good. All right. Let me scroll back here. David Eck, is that how you say that? Thanks for what you do. Your stream started just as I started the boring job of mowing the lawn. Hey, mowing the lawn could be fun. I like mowing the lawn. See it get, shorter and shorter. And it's like vacuuming. But I know what you mean. I was able to make the last 1.5 hours fly by. Thanks, Dave. No problem, David. No problem at all. Hopefully the lawn. I love the smell of freshly cut grass in the summertime. Spring, summer, fall, whatever it is. But it's that spring, summer. Reminds me of being a kid in the 80s. Johan says, wouldn't have saved Ben Tramer. The cop came like a bat out of hell. Nowhere. Yeah, no, he does. Yeah, that's true. Poor Ben Tramer dies a tragic death. Of course, I'm sure you've all noticed in Halloween 2 when Ben Tramer gets hit by the car and pushed up against the what was it? Ambulance or the van? The van. You'll notice from the wide shot, he gets hit and then he falls and he hits the hood of the police car. And then the very next shot is of him up against the van straight. So a little bit of a continuity error there, but hey, that's okay. That is all right, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see. I just want to see if anybody I missed. Somebody new, maybe. Kevin Ketchy says 7881 H2O, baby. Can't say I agree, but I'm glad it works for you, Kevin. I'm glad it works for you. Let me see. The Hatchet Boys are in here. Worn Armor, of course. Okay, you guys just talking amongst yourself. That's good. Good. Bit of a quiet chat room today in terms of questions because you guys are just chatting amongst yourself, but it's also the long weekend. It's a long weekend. Anyways, hey, that is going to do it for me on this episode of McRae Live. I want to thank, of course, my moderators, Frank Reiger, Tab the Short, Darren Sands, Chris Baber, Cody Snyder, and Andrew Stevens. And thank you to my members. And thank you to my the member chats that came in today, the super chats that came in as well. And hey, if you're watching after the fact, jump into the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. Where would you rank the Halloween timelines? And what do you think of my ranking? Jump into the comment section and let me know your thoughts. I would like to know. I think it would be a lot of fun to hear what you guys have to say about it. Listen, to my American friends south of the border, which is the vast majority of you, have a wonderful Memorial Day long weekend. Stay safe out there. I hope the weather stays safe out there. I should say not there. Stay safe out there. I hope the weather is really good wherever you are. And I will chat with you all very, very soon. This was a good show, quick and easy. Sometimes it's nice to get out before 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? And it is a long weekend as well. So have a great rest of your weekend, folks. And I will talk to you all very soon. Alrighty. Cheers.